Welcome to this introduction video of the Master Policy Economics. Economic policy problems are everywhere. Think of the Great Recession that started in 2008 and the Euro crisis that followed after that. But also think of population aging that puts huge pressure on government budgets because of rising expenditures on pensions and healthcare. Moreover, throughout the Western world, we have seen rising inequality, and especially so in the Anglo-Saxon parts of the world, where the top 1 and the top 10% of people earn much more income than a long time before. We have also seen rises in the skill premium. Higher educated people are earning much more income than lower educated people, and this is the mirror image that it is more worthwhile to invest more in education. Global warming might threaten life on Earth, and indeed, maybe global warming is the greatest market failure the world has ever seen. Global warming will need huge policy interventions to stop. And finally, the corona crisis has gripped the world as we have witnessed large spreads of the disease and massive policy interventions to stop the virus from spreading and to contain the economic downfall. In order to solve all these real-world policy problems, we need policy economists, and the Master Policy Economics aims to teach you state-of-the-art theory and empirical tools to be able to solve these policy problems. My name is Bas Jacobs. I'm one of the directors of the Master Policy Economics. I'm the Sieber-Knosse Professor of Public Economics.
And I'm the second academic director of the Master of Policy Economics. My name is Dinant Webbink. I'm a professor of policy evaluation. Economic theory and empirical work are the key elements of our master. My work is focused on empirical work, and my colleague is really an economic theory man.
On this slide you see a couple of world-renowned policy economists. But perhaps the most important policy economist from the Netherlands is Jan Tinbergen. The Master Policy Economics derives a lot of inspiration from Jan Tinbergen. He was not only the first Nobel Prize winner in economics and the only Dutch one. He was therefore a towering academic. He also was the founding father of the CPB Netherlands Bureau for Economic Policy Analysis. Moreover, he was very socially engaged, for example, in the Labour Party. Tinbergen has these three elements that we like to promote in our master program, that to be policy relevant you have to be academically thorough, but also it has to be socially relevant. So the goal of the Master in Policy Economics is to teach students to become excellent policy economists that are able to apply state-of-the-art economics to real-world policy questions. The values of our master are that you are open-minded, you have a strong curiosity, you want to be intellectually thorough, you are hardworking, and you are socially engaged. We like to attract students that have above average grades in their bachelor and that have a keen interest in policy issues. And the curriculum of this master program contains theoretical and empirical courses combined with practical training and seminars to develop your analytical and applied policy skills.
I would like to tell you something about the history of the Master Program of Policy Economics. We started in 2013 with approximately 20 students, a small group. And since this first year, we have a gradual increase in the number of students. And this year, we have cohort number 8. And the size of this cohort is approximately 50 students. 60% is international, 40% is Dutch. This gradual increase in students might be explained by that students really like our program. A few years ago, our school did a survey among students and asked students all kinds of questions about their master programs. And they constructed a ranking of these master programs. And of all these master programs, our Master of Policy Economics ranked as number 1. And I must tell you, we are really proud about that. Career prospects. The Master of Policy Economics focuses on solving policy issues. So a lot of our graduates are working at the government. So they are working in jobs at the ministries, at policy institutions like central banks, economic advisory institutions like CPB or CES-IFO or the IFS. They're also working in international institutions, the OECD, the IMF, the World Bank, and applied research institutions. But we are not only focused on working at the government, some of our graduates are really working in academia. We have some students who have already finished their PhD and are now working in universities abroad.
So the curriculum of the Master Policy Economics can be seen on the screen, and we will shortly guide you through it. The curriculum consists of compulsory courses, which you see here, and of elective courses that you see on this slide. The compulsory courses first. The curriculum has a number of courses that you have to do no matter what. So they are the core of the curriculum. The first compulsory course is Applied Econometrics, taught by Sasha Kapoor in Block 1. The second course is Advanced Public Economics, taught by me, also in Block 1. Advanced Macroeconomics is also a compulsory course taught in Block 2. And besides the compulsory courses, you can choose from a number of electives. The first elective is Economics of Organizations, taught in Block 1 by Josse Delfgauw. The second elective is Industrial Organization, taught in Block 2 by Dana Sizak. A third elective is Advanced Money, Credit and Banking, in Block 1, taught by Professor Casper de Vries. Also an elective is Taxation of Multinationals, in Block 2, taught by Professor Dirk Schindler. A further elective is the Practice of Economic Policy Making, in Block 2, taught by Jarig van Sinderen. A further elective is Policy Issues in Health, Labor and Education, taught by Professor Webbink in Block 2. And a final elective is Advanced Development Economics, taught in Block 2 by Laura Hering.
An important part of the Master Program of Policy Economics are the seminars. Seminars are not like the standard lectures. Seminars are a combination of teachers and of assignments. Students have to be active and they are invited to do all kinds of assignments, like work on data sets or make case studies or do a presentation for important people from policy circles. The first seminar is the seminar cases on policy evaluation. This seminar is in Block 3 and I'm your teacher. The main question of this seminar is about how to evaluate policies, how to find out whether policies work. And in this seminar, you will learn about which approaches are credible and which approaches are less credible. You will get the data sets of some studies and you will yourself work on these data sets. You also have to work on an empirical case study and you have to do student presentations. A part of this seminar is also about social cost-benefit analysis, which is taught by Julia Osakina.
The second seminar is the seminar Economic Policy. The seminar Economic Policy is taught by me and Professor Schindler, and it aims to solve one of the most pressing policy issues of our time. The topic of the seminar may vary year by year. In the past, we have studied the euro crisis, we studied inequality, we studied globalization, and we studied the taxation of multinationals and rich people. The idea is that you will develop ideas to solve this policy issue that we're facing. You write a paper where you confront theory and empirical works, and then you present that paper to real-world policymakers, and you will get feedback on that. And in this way, you will try to put everything you learned in the master into practice in this seminar. There will be also a seminar, Quantitative Macroeconomics, taught by Casper de Vries. And in this seminar, you will learn to develop small-scale macroeconometric models to forecast macroeconomic trends. This seminar is especially interesting for people that want to work in monetary economics and aim for a career, for example, at a central bank. Besides the seminars and the standard courses, we also have an honors class. This honors class is aimed at the best students of our master program. So if you want to follow the honors class, you will be selected based on your grades and your motivation. The course will be spread out over a couple of blocks, and it's jointly organized with the Dutch Court of Audit. This seminar contains lectures on the budgetary cycle, on the sustainability of public finances, on public auditing, but also students will learn how the budgetary cycle works out in practice, for example, by going to Parliament and talk to the financial spokesman there. This course is taught by Aart Gerritsen and Laurens Wijtvliet. The latter is from the Dutch Court of Audit.
We are now nearly at the end of this introduction video, and students always ask us some questions about the master. And now we will walk through some of these questions to inform you about the master. The first question is, what is the difference between your master and the Master of International Economics or the Master of Behavioral Economics?
Well, as the name Policy Economics already tells you, the Master Policy Economics is mainly aimed at economic policy problems. And of course, that does not mean that there's no international economics or behavioral economics, because both are relevant to policy as well. But our master really has a focus, and it's especially designed to learn to apply theory and empirical methods to solve policy issues. And the Masters of Behavioral Economics and International Economics don't have that focus.
A second question I would like to ask you is about the focus. Is the Master Policy Economics focused on Dutch institutions or the Dutch situation? Because you are both Dutch, and the master is taught at a Dutch university. So does that mean that this is a Dutch-oriented master?
This master is in the Netherlands, but it's certainly not focused on the Dutch situation exclusively, in the sense that everywhere in the world we need policy economists. No matter where you live, there are always governments, there are always ministries, there are policy think tanks everywhere on the world. So if you follow this master also as a foreign student, you can help to make your country a better place by learning policy economics in Rotterdam.
About the master program, is it a tough master? Is there a lot of math or econometrics in the program?
Yes, there is. So students should really have their knowledge of mathematics, statistics, but also microeconomic theory up to par when they enroll in the master program. Because the courses start from that knowledge, the courses use a lot of models and empirical quantitative methods, and these are necessary to become a good policy economist.
If this master is so tough, are students able to do it in 1 year? Can they graduate in 1 year?
I would say in theory, yes, that's certainly possible. However, in practice, many students will also do other things, like, for example, an internship or a job on the side. So that might delay their graduation. And therefore, most students take a little bit longer than 1 year. They will typically study 2-3 months longer than the nominal requirement.
Okay, you already were talking about internships. Is it also possible to combine an internship with your thesis?
Yes, it is. So a lot of institutions approach us from the master program to advertise internships to the students. So many students in our master program do internships, for example, at the ministries or at CPB, Netherlands Bureau for Economic Policy Analysis. So these internships can be combined with writing your master's thesis, but of course the topic of the internships should be suitable for a master's thesis. But if it is, you can combine it.
Okay. And the final thing I wanted to ask is if students do not have a standard bachelor degree, for instance, they have a different bachelor degree like political science or public administration, can they enroll in the Master of Policy Economics?
That's not guaranteed. And if you want to be sure, you always have to contact the student advisor, because they can exactly inform you which degrees qualify for enrollment and which do not. It is nevertheless, if you don't have an economics background, to do the pre-master program. In the pre-master program, you will learn the basic economic theory, statistics and econometrics that will give you the knowledge to follow this master successfully.
If you like to know more about this master, if you have further questions, then you can always send an email to us. Our email addresses, you will see them on the screen. You can also find a lot of information on the website. We thank you for your attention. We hope that this was a very informative introduction for you, and of course, we hope that we will see you next year in Rotterdam.